Hi, everybody. It's me, Grandma Lili, back for tonight's story time with Grandma Lili. I hope you all had a great day. Before we start, I want to say hello, as usual, to my babies, Elijah, Jordan, Kylie. I miss you all. Serenity, I hope you're not too bored, not going to school. And before I start with today's story, I wanted to share something with you. I have been getting some requests. And one of the books that I got a request from was from my good friend Macy. And Macy, I just want to tell you that if you tune in tomorrow, I think that you're going to enjoy the surprise. Okay? So again, if you have books that you want me to read, let me know. If I have them or I can get them, I'll be more than happy to read them. So today's story is called The Mitten. And it's actually a Ukrainian folktale, which is an old story that grandmas and grandpas and moms and dads have told for years and years, and sometimes different people write different books using the same story. This one is called The Mitten, and this one is adapted and illustrated by Jan Brett. Here we go. The Mitten, a Ukrainian folktale, adapted and illustrated by Jan Brett. I especially love the pictures in this book. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. At first, his grandmother, Baba, did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally Baba made them. After she finished, she said, when you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound, but then I will look to see if you still have your snow white mittens. So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. Can you see it? Can you see his mitten right there by the tree? It looks like a footprint, doesn't it? A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. There he is. See the mole going into the mitten? A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wiggled in, feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them. But when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. Now there's a bunny and a mole in the mitten. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. Look at everybody in the mitten now. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. Look how big this mitten is getting. Do you see how many people are moving into this mitten? How many little animals are living in this mitten? Up through the snow appeared a badger. There's a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left, but when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. Look at the mitten. It started snowing, but the animals were all snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotting by stopped to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in when the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth. They gave the fox lots of room. Uh-oh, look at that. Who do you think is coming next? A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be, but what animal is going to argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and budged to many times, but Baba's good knitting held fast. Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wriggled into the one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the great bear's nose. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Achoo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. Oh, here comes Nicky. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten, silhouetted against the blue sky. As he ran to catch his snow-white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she saw that he still had his new mittens. And there is Nicky with Baba and his new mittens. And look, there's one mitten and there's the other mitten. Why does that mitten look so big? Because all the animals were living in it. Okay, boys and girls, I know that was a short story, but this is one of my favorite books. I love the way Jan Brett illustrates these pictures, and so I wanted to share this with you. Remember, tomorrow there's a special surprise for Macy, so everybody make sure to tune in. Okay, you guys have a great day. I hope you have a fun day tomorrow. Grandma Lili loves you and misses you all. Bye-bye.